Okay, so here we are, ready to start Beowulf, and my first player. I got seats set aside for 5 players. His hand of cards, Beowulf card, he definitely doesn't want to get rid of that. We're moving into this first space here, where you can exchange 2 cards for random draws. Don't want to get rid of my double card. I got a double ship. Double cards are kind of cool, so I'm going to hold that. But then I've got like a ton of ships, and let's look through here. I'm not going to need ships for a long time. I think I want to hold a double ship, but I sure don't want to hold 3 more. So I'm going to take advantage of this card, throw 2 of these, then draw 2 more. I'm not really going to look at them. Okay, I will. I get to do some fisting, which will be helpful here, except I don't have a horn. So maybe I want to risk, you know. Horns are going to be important here. Fist is here. So, you know, I've got some better cards. Everybody else is going to make a similar kind of decision. I'll do the next one. Just take a quick look. Again, my initials I don't want to do. These boats don't look very useful. There's going to be a fox up here. And a weapon here. I'll get rid of 2 boats. I do see that he's thrown away a boat, and we'll look and we get some other cards. I'll just do this with the rest of them though, and I won't do it on video because I don't see much point to this kind of decision. But it's just sort of a, hey, what's coming up isn't going to be terribly helpful. You know, what I have in my hand isn't going to be terribly helpful for what's coming up. So it seems like, you know, it's a good way to kind of try to balance your hand. You still have a lot of luck though in terms of, hey, what you have. By the way, I checked on BGG. Apparently I've played this twice. I may have soloed it a little bit with the intention. I almost certainly played it at least once with my wife. The question is, my past wife. The question is whether or not I played it twice with her, which would kind of indicate that we had fun with it and got a couple of plays in before letting it go, or if I played it once kind of just to get kind of a prep for it without covering it, and then she and I played it, and then somehow it just fell off my radar. I actually suspect we played it twice because it's a light game, and that was a time period where if, you know, where maybe if we learned something, it was kind of appealing to play it again. As opposed to, I don't know, later on she just didn't want to play anything with me. Here I've got someone who has a handful of what look like kind of usable cards, right? Horns and fists are going to be useful here. I don't remember what horns are, friendship or something like that. I don't have any foxes, but I do have a fist. Might be worth taking risks on those because they allow you to refresh your hand with them though. So playing for them doesn't seem terribly valuable. Do you get anything from a risk space? No, your potential bonus there is to get cards that you need coming up. Okay. So I probably don't want to throw things that I'm going to be able to use. This is appealing. Might want to get rid of this, but I have to get rid of exactly 2 cards. I get a chance to draw for more. So yeah, I'll do that. I know I was saying I wouldn't show you everybody, and I'm not. It's just that looked interesting because it wasn't as clear as the others with these boats that don't even show up in the near future. Everyone except the 5th player chose to take advantage of this one way or another. And honestly, I think it's worth taking advantage of in general because you might get a chance of drawing either a wild card with the Beowulf cards, which can be useful, or a double card, which could be useful. So we get to the next one. Sail to Denmark. This is a risk space. Take a quick look at how that is supposed to work. You have the option to draw for the risk. You only get a scratch if you fail. It seems worthwhile. I don't see a reason not to. So I'm going to draw. I get a fist and a fox. I get to keep the fist. And this allows me to refresh my hand. It's going to be hard to refresh your hand in this game. There aren't a lot of chances to do so. This guy, likewise, I think I'm just going to draw. I get 2 cards that I could use. Third player. Ouch. He does not succeed in his risk, which means he gets a scratch. Same here. Is this just a luck thing? Well, you know, again, you can decide you don't want the scratch. Let's say you have 2 scratches already. But I think at this point, it's just worth drawing the extra cards. Even if you're not going to get shit. Okay, so the bottom half's not happy. Now we get the first one of these, and these are simultaneous plays. Everybody gets to lay their cards face down. Let's take a look at what the first player is going to decide, then I'll put the camera down. Only horns count. I have 2 horns. Horns are going to count again here, and I don't have much to do with them. My best gain might well be King Hrothgar's Blessing. Instead of discarding one of your cards showing symbols, you retrieve the card into your hand. That's not terribly powerful. A couple of these might be better. A couple cards might be good. I think it's worth playing my 2 card. I'm going to go through everybody else, just make their decisions, but nobody's bidding or anything here. They're just putting down a sealed bid, as it were. And look at the next player. You know, I was going to say, hey, I'm not going to tell you much. He doesn't have a lot of these, so he's got some more options. And again, I don't want to violate, you know, my knowledge of what other people are doing here. But looking ahead, I've got a horn here. The gifts aren't very high. I might just get as good a gift as anyone else. I might get as good a gift by not playing a card. There's no requirement that I play one for this, right? Let me make sure. Yeah. I could put some garbage down, but I have the option to go up to 2 horns. One of the problems is I'm going to need horns and foxes here, and I might be able to play for the number 1 in that. So here's what I'm going to do. Odds, I compete. Okay. Now I'm going to go up to throwing this in, but only on a 1. Okay, so I am also just going to put 1 card down. It may or may not be obvious how many cards I've got. If I've got them in a neat little stack, nobody can really see too well. If I've got them spread out, maybe I scare people. But honestly, I might just be showing off, you know, my double axe card or something like that. One of the things I wanted to go into, though, was that there will not be another opportunity to get automatic horns here. Now, the recovery space is the other way players get their cards, but that's based on, you know, who the first player is. So, and that's going to change based on who wins this. So now again, I've got, like, you know, a hard question. How much do I want horns? I don't know where this is going to be sitting. I have absolutely no idea. Who gets it? Okay, that's a good question. Okay, whoever does the worst in any major encounter gets to be first player. So in a sense, by putting 0, I might be guaranteeing myself a first player position. That's very appealing. And again, this is not a terribly appealing set of treasures. So odds I'm going to compete. Okay, I will compete. Second odds, I'll put another one in. Nah. I'm just going to put 1 in. Turns out it's not going to end up a great deal. Again, I keep saying, I'm not going to do the next one. I just feel like I have to because these decisions are coming differently. Laying any cards down on bluffing, so here's what we've got. All right. And the first player is going to be over here. He gets 1. He has to pay. Second player comes over here because the other 2 are tied. And likewise, here and here are used up. And then he gets the number 5 pick. And now, player number 1 gets a pick as to what he wants. Well, do I have a fantastic card I want to put back in my hand? This can be very, very powerful if you have one of these other bonus cards, and could be probably the best usage. I'm going to just grab that because I think it's a cool card. Okay, and that puts it on number 2. Number 2 is looking at swords and fists, or axes and fists. I've got a good number of both of those, so maybe drawing 2 cards isn't that terribly valuable to me. So what I'm going to go for is 2 draws out of the cup, and I'm not looking. You can probably, you can't really see what I'm pulling out here. He's going to grab 2 of these. That's some victory points, and that is some more victory points. So I've got a nice little collection of points that I'm getting off of this. That's as good as that position. Number 3 here. I think the best move here is to take 2 cards. Let me just look at my hand and think. Yeah, my hand's pretty weak, like small. So I think taking 2 cards is not a bad choice. Not great cards, but that's okay. 1 treasure is probably about as bad as I can get out of the cup. And so he takes the last one, which will be 1 treasure point. These also go face down. I'm not sure I really want to leave them face down because I may be away from the table for a while. But he also gets the first player marker. Doesn't have any decisions or anything except to come to here. Now again, with only 1 scratch, getting cards seems like a good idea. So we will draw for that. And we get fucked again. But likewise, I think everybody kind of wants to draw. I don't see any great reason not to try to improve your hand. And then the final player gets a pair of axes, which is another scratch. Now, people sitting on 2 scratches have a much bigger question when they hit the risk space. We hit the next one. Now, this is going to be a bidding space. And the first player has to play a single card and could take risk. You know, do I want to play big or not? I don't have a lot of fists. I don't have a lot of other stuff. Axes aren't going to be useful for quite some time, so I'm going to open things up with a 2 axe bid. and try to get something here, because there's a wound, a full wound available on this one. Now I have my special card. I'm going to put that aside. Now I could stay in this with a 2-axe. Doesn't seem like a bad choice. You're going to see nobody wants the bad result, right? And then there's another bad result. I too will stay in. Is this worthwhile? I don't know, man. We all have a double axe. And axes don't come about until here. So, you know, we can all play that 2 axes coming out without even revealing anything. Let's see how much we pillage ourselves here. Now he's back. He has to play a card, or he could withdraw and take the 5, or other things. I'll play 1 card, and that'll boost me up, and now the total is at 3 axes. We come over here. I got a fair number of fists. I'll keep playing. I don't want the wounds. We look at the next one, and there's nothing bad on this. It's just a celebration, right? This is Grendel attacking. We could be looking these up and tracing them. They have a compendium of what each of the elements is. I get too focused on the game to really care too much about that. I'll play an axe. That ties me. Everybody's at 3 right now. Doesn't have to be. Again, not holding on to axes. Although, if you look, like, this is not bad. There's nothing I'd want to do here. This I don't worry about. This I don't worry about. But when we get here, there's, again, where there's axes, there's probably going to be wounds. What is the top one? The Beowulf's Daring. When taking a risk, reveal 5 cards instead of 2. That could really refresh your hand. So that, it's not like a 2-card guarantee or anything like that, but it may be better than a 2-card. It could be a 5-card holding. Okay. Play this here. And we're back on him. You can see there's a disadvantage to going first when you hit these. I could go for a risk. That could get me a wound. I'm going to risk. I don't know why. I'm just going to. Which is 2 cards. I get a pair of foxes. That doesn't help me. And now I'm wounded. I could keep playing, which I shall do. I'm not thrilled about this, but I'm wounded enough that I don't want to keep throwing out more wounds out there. So now the total is at 4. We'll match that, trying to avoid the wound. Really don't want the wounds, do we? Okay. Fist comes up here against the Sea Hag, which has a -2 victory points as an opportunity, as a potential problem. But I don't know if that's as bad as a wound. Now, wounds don't matter until you get 3 of them, but we're pretty early in the situation. See if we can scare some people off. Okay, so now the total is 5. Keep going. All our cards work. All right. I could pick up that worst card. I'm going to take another risk. All right. So this was 2, 3, 4. It's now 6. And I'm not allowed to play anymore. Come back over here. He's at 4. This is getting kind of ugly. Fists are going to be useful here. 2, 4. I'd have to play 2 of my cards. I choose to withdraw. And that will get me the wound. All my cards go away. Coming down here. Well, now the cost is much less. It's down to a scratch. I'm going to stay in, but I'm going to draw from here. I get an axe. 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't think I'm allowed to risk again, but I am allowed to equate. 2, 3, 4, 5. I only need 1. I too will risk. Nah! I'll put an axe in. 2, 3, 4, 5. We're getting awfully low here. I mean, I get a scratch if I don't take it, and I can't afford a scratch because I have 2 scratches already. So not good for me. Comes over here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, at this point, since I'm already at a wound, we'll bring it up to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Come down to here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need 1 more. Do I want to play a card or do I want to take a scratch? Yeah, I got a hand. I don't know. I'm going to draw. Not good. I'm allowed to pass at this point if I want, and I think I do want. Do I want a second scratch? Not terribly. All right. We'll play another fist. We're really pillaging our pieces, though, here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need 1 more. All I have is 1 more fist. But I don't want that scratch. And I don't want to scratch from there. It's just my thinking. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Same thinking. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm in first again. Well, I'm willing to draw. And I get a scratch. Well, this would mean a second scratch if I keep going, but it also means giving up a Beowulf card if I don't. So I'll take that second scratch. I'm not thrilled about it. That puts me over here. He should be at 7, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, all his cards go away. It's really hard not to keep spending once you've, put a lot in and you're getting butt kiss out of it. But at this point, there's nothing bad going to happen. I'm going to get something decent. It's just how decent is the something I get? And I think it's worth taking a risk for. Oops. And worth passing. The last couple are here. Pass, pass. All the cards go in. You can see where cards are going to have a fair chance to get stuck together. You're going to have to reshuffle these decks pretty heavily. And we go to player 1. They get their choice. What do I want? Do I want a big set of cards? Or do I want victory points? I'm a person who likes to collect resources in games. And I've got very few cards left, so that doesn't seem like a bad choice. I think the next best choice is the 5 victory point marker. Well, I don't want a wound or a scratch, so we'll take this. Four over here. We'll of course take the scratch. Although maybe it's not such an of course, right? Because the wound comes to him with 2 bonus cards of experience or whatever. And now he becomes the first player. And we can see a lot of wounds have started accumulating. Remember, you get 3 of them, you lose the game. Everybody could lose. That's going to put us up to a recovery period. Let me deal some cards out, and I will be back. The first player looks at the first thing here. First of all, there's great rewards. Ooh, didn't notice that. 2 axes can get me some treasure. If there were a double axe, but there's no double pieces out here at all. There's not much I can do here. Here I just get to select and grab something good. Could get some more draw cards, could get rid of some scratches. All kind of good things are available there. What I think I want, though, is to worry about, okay, what happens here? Well, Beowulf's Resolve, ignore 1 failed risk. What the fuck does that mean? All right, we're going to have to look and see, am I all that interested in that card? And then the other one here is the Warrior's Rest, which discards 2 scratches, which could be useful, but let's take a look. Beowulf's Resolve, ignore 1 failed risk. You can use this card to undo the whole risk. You don't receive any scratches, and then you can decide whether to take the risk again. Oh, okay. So that's kind of cool. But I don't know that it's all that valuable. This looks like a pretty shitty selection. Maybe the best might be the two alliance chits. Maybe. Both of these cards are kind of weak sauce as far as I'm concerned. So I don't know how much I'm focusing on this. Ships look valuable, and they're valuable here. So I'm going to take a ship card for him. That puts me on this guy, who has absolute shit. He can take a hell of a risk on this. I don't know if that's terribly worthwhile. But if I don't, I'll be getting, nothing bad. Over here, I need boats. here. I got no boats. Boats seem like a good idea. Everybody's going to grab boats. Elvis eats boats. Elvis eats. Yeah, he just died recently. Mojo Nixon. All right, I have a decent amount of ships. I don't have any foxes or horns. However, with everybody grabbing boats, maybe I want to grab boats too. Nah, not that interested in it. I mean, well, see, this is bad. Horns and foxes. Horns are rare. Let's take a horn. Okay, comes down to him. I don't have a lot of boats. I have foxes. I want to avoid the injury. I will take a boat. And now we're on the second pick coming through. And this one is obviously, you know, there's less available for me. Foxes are nice. I'm going to go with a fist, though. Horns and foxes. This is up for bid. I don't have an ability to get more boats. I don't have any fists. I could get lucky. I don't know. I'll take a fox. Just, you know, in some cases it's just really hard to make a decision. Here, I got horns and foxes up the ass. No. I'll definitely take a fist, which I won't have there. How come you got a 5 in front of you? I think it rolled there. I don't know. Otherwise, I fucked up, and this guy should be first. But I think maybe he should be. I think I forgot to move the marker, which means everybody's drawing in the wrong order. I don't know. I don't know. Easy to fuck things up, isn't it? Fists, foxes. Let's take a fox, I guess. And he doesn't have an option. Now we hit great rewards. And we start, I guess, with this guy. If I have 2 axes, I could turn them in. I do not. I do not. I don't think anybody does. I think they all expended their axes up here. Do not. Can't play for a risk. And do not. There's a reason to hold on to things. You could get a pile of treasure out of that. But we move to here. Definitely have to pull. I have to swap batteries, but I'm trying to debate. Do I load this up at this point? Have I, you know, shown enough? I feel like I'm going to be playing the entire game on video no matter what. I really don't see much difference between that. This was a definite fuck up. Okay, we're going to swap batteries, and I will play probably about half the game before I stop and load this video up. Okay, so this is another go around. Foxes and horns, no big harm here, but also nothing really appealing to not doing these. Do I want to play for the risk? Neither foxes nor horns are useful in the very near future. I know other people are going to be playing. I might just take the 5, keep myself as first player, and the disadvantage of that, which will probably get me this, or maybe that, I don't know. No, we're going to play. Do we want to play for a risk? Yeah, we're going to play for a risk. What the hell? We got 2 horns. That kind of jump starts the game. Well, that makes the price higher for anybody who wants to do it. So now, foxes are available and valuable here. It's like cleverness or something like that. I got 2 wounds. I'd rather not, or 2 scratches. I'd rather not get a wound out of this. Do I want to play for this? I really don't feel like I want to, but I'm going to anyway. There's 2 foxes. I got a lot of foxes and horns. Horns aren't of interest for a long time. So I will play 2 horns, keep myself in the running. I could take a huge draw on the risk, or I could hold off for up here where things look problematic. 2 would eat up this. I'm going to pass and take my 5. Oh, this poor guy. I could play in on it. I could draw for a risk. I don't want to do that. I've got good cards. Foxes are more valuable than horns. I'll play 2 as well. Puts me back on him. He's going to risk it again. Because otherwise he gets the 5. I get an extra one. That's good enough. See, now it's getting painful because I've done 2 cleverness in the celebration already. But I think I'm going to play a risk. And so just so you know, when I roll the dice, like the first die roll, in this case, it was on a 1. I wanted to compete, and then I made another roll, odd, even, for whether or not I went for a risk. This is a risk that I don't like to take, but I get a double fox. That's sufficient, so I have to stop. I can't keep drawing or anything like that. So now we're at 4 for him. I don't feel like it's worth paying more anymore. So we move this here. We skip him. He's done. Again, a 4. I don't feel like it's worth it, especially now that I'm all the way up to a 3. Get to him. He only needs 1 more. He's been playing risks all over the place. Foxes and horns. I'll play a horn. What am I going for? I get 1 or 2. I get one of the good cards. Do I care which one? Well, I don't want the scratches, but he's probably going to take that. I don't know. I'll just take 2 and discard, and that puts 1 over here. So then, he gets first call. I feel like my choices are the gold bridled horses, which is a shitload of boats. That would be very useful in one of these others. I'm going to actually take that instead of the scratch recovery. I can recover my scratches here. That means number 2. Well, number 2, refuse a misfortune, scratch, or wound after choosing the icon in a major episode. Seems worth it to be able to pass on a wound. I just don't. The two victory cards looks nice too, but I'm going to take this. I think that's better than the cards. He's going to take what I'm pretty sure is the next best thing, which is 2 of these. Not too great. Number 4, it's a choice between a victory point and a treasure. What is treasure worth? If I bid the most treasure I could get something kind of good, yeah, I'll just take a treasure. And then the 5th player, and we remember to give him the red this time, will be taking a single victory point. For there. And that means these clear off. I'm going to put these up here, just for ease. Now we hit selection. What does he want? He's going to get rid of 2 scratches. Next player, same thing. Scratches are bad. Coming over here. Well, two cards could be very, very valuable. What else could be valuable? Let me look at my special card. Instead of discarding one of your cards showing symbols, retrieve the card into your hand. I would have really liked that boat card. I got kind of screwed by the guy who took it before me. But maybe I'll get a different one. I think building up materials for my next action is good. That's one of my 2 cards. I got to reshuffle the deck. Cards are getting a little worn. They're flexible. They're nice cards. They kind of remind me of... they're smooth. But like the Phalanx game I played recently, the Nero game, they're getting a little chipped up really quick. Quicker than you would expect from, say, a normal poker deck. About equal to what the GMT armored cards get chipped up with, but they're easy to shuffle at least. And let's look at this guy. He'll get rid of his scratches, as will he. I just think that's a good move. Let's do another one of these. And you know, I'm kind of tired of playing at this point. So actually, I think we're going to play this out over a while, because I just don't feel like just playing through this. It's not that exciting to play solo. Being kind of, you know, with all this bidding and either sealed secret bids or progressive bidding. It's just not the kind of thing that's a lot of fun to do solo, and sometimes maybe I'll be in the mood for it, sometimes maybe I won't. Right now, I'm just not really feeling it. So, I'm going to put a die on top of him to remind me that he is indeed the first player, and I'm going to load this sucker up. And we'll see. I think I'll finish the game, but I think you get some idea of like how the different how the different spaces generate something. We haven't hit any of the treasure bid spaces yet, but they work very much like the card bids do, except that you do it by flipping over treasure pieces. And only one person pays. Only the winner pays in that case. Whereas these other things, you're bidding effort that's been expended and it's permanently gone. With the treasure ones, you're bidding how much of your treasure is worth expending on it. It feels more like a natural bidding. I'm trying to think games like Lords of Sierra Madre, or for that matter, the opening auction in a game of 1830, where you're bidding cash for something, and only the person who wins gets it, or only the person who gets it has to actually pay, which means that there's something very different with this other, which is I'm fighting this hard, well, I'm fighting just as hard, and I tie you, therefore, you're going to have to bid again as that first player. Well, because it's effort expended rather than actual cash being bid for a reward. So it's just a different kind of flavor for these different kind of bidding mechanisms in the game. All of which is kind of neat, to tell you the truth. And it's kind of interesting, too, these flat spaces. The first player has the advantage in those. Because if they bid highest, or if they tie for the highest bid, they get the first place in it. Whereas in the circular bids, they're at a disadvantage. But the circular bids are the only place where the order of play switches. It's just, I don't know, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on, as there often is in a Knizia game. And there is something cool here. I'm not getting a lot of fun coming out of playing it. So we shall see.